Imagine receiving a confidential government letter inviting you to secretly purchase one of the most famous landmarks in the world. Not a company, not a mansion, the Eiffel Tower. It sounds impossible. After all, how could anyone sell a monument that belongs to an entire country? But in 1925, a wealthy businessman walked into one of the most luxurious hotels in Paris, believing he was about to make the deal of a lifetime. A few hours later, he signed official documents, handed over a fortune, and walked away believing he had just purchased the Eiffel Tower. Except the papers were fake. The government meeting never existed, and the man sitting across the table wasn't a government official at all. His name was Victor Lustig, one of the greatest con artists the world has ever known. And somehow, this wasn't even his boldest move, because after escaping with millions, he returned and tried to sell the Eiffel Tower one more time. Victor Lustig wasn't a thief who relied on force. He didn't carry weapons. He didn't wear a mask. His greatest weapon was his mind. Born in what is now the Czech Republic, Lustig mastered several languages, studied people, and understood one simple truth. People don't believe what is true. They believe what they want to be true. Before arriving in Paris, he had already spent years scamming wealthy passengers on luxury ocean liners. Every conversation, every handshake, every smile was carefully calculated. By 1925, Victor Lustig wasn't looking for another victim. He was looking for the perfect opportunity. And then, one newspaper article changed everything. That newspaper wasn't announcing a government sale. It was talking about something far more ordinary. The Eiffel Tower had become incredibly expensive to maintain. Newspapers were criticizing the enormous cost of repairs, and the French government was under financial pressure after the First World War. Most people read the article and forgot about it. Victor Lustig saw something completely different. He saw the perfect story, a story believable enough to convince wealthy businessmen that the French government wanted to secretly get rid of the Eiffel Tower. But an unbelievable story needed believable evidence, so Victor Lustig created it himself. He forged official government documents, complete with convincing seals and signatures. Then he rented a meeting room inside one of Paris's most luxurious hotels, the Hôtel de Crillon. Finally, he invited 6 of the city's biggest scrap metal dealers. Everything looked official. Everything felt important. And before the meeting even began, his victims had already started believing they were about to become part of an opportunity that nobody else knew existed. When the meeting finally began, Victor introduced himself as a senior government official. Then he made an announcement that stunned every businessman in the room. The French government could no longer afford to maintain the Eiffel Tower. Repair costs had become overwhelming, and after weeks of discussion, a secret decision had been made. The tower would be dismantled and sold for scrap metal. But there was one condition. Everything had to remain completely confidential. If news of the sale reached the public, it could trigger outrage across France. No one questioned the story. Every businessman in that room believed they had been invited to witness a secret piece of history. One businessman stood out from the rest. His name was André Poisson. He was already successful, but he wanted something more. He wanted to be accepted by Paris's business elite. Victor noticed that almost instantly. Instead of treating Poisson like everyone else, he gave him extra attention, invited him into private conversations, and quietly made him believe he was the strongest candidate. The strategy worked perfectly. Before long, Poisson wasn't just interested in buying scrap metal. He believed he was about to secure the biggest business deal of his entire life. Without realizing it, he had become Victor Lustig's perfect target. Everything was going according to plan until André Poisson's wife became suspicious. She couldn't understand why the French government would secretly sell its most famous landmark. Why was the meeting hidden? Why was everything so confidential? Her questions made Poisson nervous. For the first time, Victor's perfect plan began to fall apart. If Poisson walked away, the entire operation would collapse. Victor needed to regain his trust, and he had only one move left. One move that would completely change the way Poisson saw him. Instead of denying the accusations, Victor leaned closer and quietly confessed something unexpected. He said government officials were paid very little, and if Poisson wanted to secure the contract, a small private payment would help move things along. It sounded like corruption, but to Poisson, that made the entire meeting feel authentic. A flawless government official would have been difficult to believe. A corrupt one felt completely real. In that moment, every doubt disappeared. Poisson signed the agreement, handed over the money, and even paid the extra bribe. Victor Lustig calmly collected everything, shook his hand, and walked away, having just sold the Eiffel Tower. Victor Lustig didn't stay in Paris for a second longer than he had to. With the money safely in his possession, he boarded a train to Vienna and disappeared before anyone realized the Eiffel Tower had just been sold. From his hotel room, he followed the news every single day, expecting the biggest scandal in French history to explode at any moment. He waited for the headlines. He waited for the police, but the headlines never came. There was no investigation, no nationwide manhunt, nothing. The silence was unbelievable. How could someone steal a fortune by selling one of the world's most famous landmarks and simply walk away? The answer would surprise even Victor himself. The reason was surprisingly simple. André Poisson never reported the scam. He had lost a fortune, but admitting the truth meant admitting he had been tricked into buying the Eiffel Tower. For him, the embarrassment was far greater than the financial loss. Victor quickly realized what had happened. His greatest protection wasn't forged documents or a fake identity. It was human pride. Confident that nobody would expose him, he returned to Paris just a few months later and attempted the exact same scam again. This time, however, one businessman became suspicious and contacted the police. Victor escaped before they could arrest him, but his unbelievable con had already secured its place in history. The greatest scams aren't built on lies. They're built on stories people desperately want to believe. If you enjoyed this documentary, consider subscribing to Vault Theory. Every week, we uncover the hidden stories behind money, history, and the people who changed the world. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next documentary.